Alright guys, Scrappy again. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. After all the drama and challenges over the last few days, it looks like we might have yet more former Call of Duty players back in business going into the upcoming Challengers Cups. How well would a team of Attach, Havoc, Octane looking for one do? Well, we might find out in the coming days. So big storylines on that side of things, and also further talk about the snipers, whether they have to get banned right about now. Very much into your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. Lots to get into. We're going to start here. These are the CDL standings as it stands. We're only one weekend into the league. Of course, a number of these teams have only played one series. Those teams are Boston. They started off 1-0 after their win against the Ravens. Toronto went 5 with Heretics. Both of those teams, that was the only game that they played. The same was true for Cloud9 when they played G2, but of course, G2 went on to play again, ended up 1-1. Surge only played a single series. Falcons, therefore, the only team that starts off 0-2. They had a challenging opening weekend for sure, playing against OpTic and playing against Thieves. They won one map over those couple of series. It wasn't looking great. OpTic start off 2-0. Of course, they are topping up the league right now. Gentomate at 1-1. So, you know, the usual suspect as the early starters. Wonder how similar this will be when we get to the end of the season, right? Because I think Heretics, I'd like to expect them to make some progress as the season goes on. They didn't start last year especially well either, but bringing in Super did change the game. Whether Lurqxx is a good enough replacement for ReeaL, I think time will tell on that one. Obviously a loss for sure, losing ReeaL to Toronto. Metals wasn't great last year from a consistency perspective either. He's still there. Renka and Super will need to go God mode, right? There's lots of talk about FaZe needing Simp to go insane. But I think that, you know, the same is true, probably even more so for those boys on the Heretics this season. FaZe got the 1-1. I mean, they could have started off 0-2 here, right? They could have been down there with the Falcons. They also had a challenging schedule to start. They played Thieves. The match after that, they played Gentomates, but they won it in 5 after some big turn-up performances. So we'll see how the rest of the season goes, but that is the early start anyway. Some big games to come. Lots of drama and challenges over the last few days. Thought it was pretty cool. The Barstool guys were live and they were talking about Daniel Say. They were talking about the Telluride Bush haters going down because, of course, they're coming into the scene. Bush Gaming won the first Challenger Cup. It was a big talking point over the last few days. It's cool to see guys get involved in the scene who, you know, don't really maybe know much about the way that competitive Call of Duty is, why it's so exciting, right? And especially for people that are kind of watching this development for the first time, seeing everything unfold. Because competitive COD is such a niche but vibrant scene, and it's just cool to see new people get to experience that to an extent. But also it's a great storyline, and Challenges is in an unbelievable spot, right? Over the last couple of years, we have had pretty much just Omid Rafi has been running the show. Team War and some other notable names as well. We'll get back to Team War in the coming minutes because they had a few words to say as well. But really, Challengers has been in the depths for quite some time. When the CDL first came around, there was all that talk about the 3 pillars. Pillar 1, the pros. Pillar 2, the fans. And then Pillar 3, the challengers, right? The amateur scene, the you know, the guys trying to make it to the top level. Never really felt like, at least, I mean, at times even all 3 of those pillars were questionable in terms of their support, certainly from a Challengers perspective. Now, look, the money's gone up to a degree over the last few years for Challengers. That, of course, is one thing, but mainly just, you know, more tournaments, better run tournaments. In the early days when it swapped to Face it was, you know, there were loads of issues. It's still not perfect now by any means, as the Bush Gaming guys found out over the last few days. There's still a fair few things they've got to solve, but this season, with some of the Halo guys coming in, there was some promise about some of the Warzone players making the switch. I can't say I've seen much about that. Maybe that was all hot air at the end of the day. I guess we'll see. But the reality is it's tough. Challengers is very competitive. The team that won the tournament the other day, the Bush Gaming boys, full of players that have all been in the league, right? Effectively pros, at least on some level. They win the tourney. This is Smart with the sniper. We'll discuss a little bit more on this here in the coming seconds. But Challengers in a good spot. OpTic are involved with the Huntsman. They've got Zinni coaching their guys. Obviously, Zuma's done a great job. And I think Zuma really paved the way for this in many respects, because what he did with the Stallions over the last couple of years when forming this team, giving them the opportunity and the space to grow and obviously improve and give his own help to that where he possibly can, support them in the tournaments, at the LAN events and all this stuff, but also making it into a great piece of content, right? Zuma following the Stallions, all the talks about Stallions red, Stallions black. Who are they going to sign? Are they going to make changes? You know, Swooty was cooking last night. I thought it was pretty cool to see his development as the year goes on. And it's just a great storyline to follow, and it makes fantastic content for Zuma, right? And I think for the Bush Gaming guys, it's the same kind of thing. It's from an entertainment perspective, it's very fascinating how, yeah, they support a roster and they can make content out of said roster. And it's, you know, like a virtuous circle that benefits everyone. And other teams are seeing, hopefully, that they can benefit from something similar as well. And, you know, the grassroots of COD feels like it's at least back to a certain degree. But look, let's talk about this clip real quick. This was sparked with the sniper rifle. This actually is King of Body of the Falcons Academy. Gets absolutely clattered. And look, yes, there's a lot of luck involved here. I mean, he just spins around and he no-scopes him, and it is what it is, right? Sometimes it happens. Formal and Scump were talking about it. And, you know, look, at the end of the day, the sniper is strong. Has it ruined the game so far? I think absolutely not, right? There are some questions on this whole 2 life rule that the pros are currently running with. I think personally that if you are going to keep with that, they should just take it away in round 11, right? Like, I think in round 11 you should use the sniper anyway, however many lives have been used, because that's really the exciting part. I think it's good at least that the CDL casters are acknowledging that it exists from a 2 life perspective, rather than being like, wow, that's a surprise. This guy's just dropped 12 kills with the sniper this map, and he's put it away round 11. So, look, is the sniper very good? Yes. Has it ruined the way that Search and Destroy is played? Not at all, as far as I'm concerned. Even with the aim assist as it presently stands, I still think it's in a pretty good spot. We probably don't really need the 2 life rule either, to be honest. If they got rid of the aim assist, then probably we could use it fully. I mean, I think we probably should be anyway. It's at least good to have it in the game. And look, every time the pros cry about the snipers and then they eventually use them, when you actually watch the gameplay, you realize the sniper is far less of a factor than they were complaining that it actually would be. It's still a factor, don't get me wrong. We see a lot of snipers on the map from the various teams. I think that's good. It creates hype mode. I mean, imagine this in a champs final. It would be unbelievable, right? So, you know, it creates a lot of great moments like this, but equally, I don't think it's at the point where it's got to go, and every time the pros cry, they always get exposed, in my opinion, for their thoughts on the snipers. Couple of clips I'll share, that one, also this from Nadeshot. Then we will talk about the state of challenges and some of the other boys that might be getting involved.
Both teams probably going to hit middle quite a bit here. Sub's going to try to get mid-map control.
Let's see what Bush's very own Spark could do. Oh, what the hell?
Yo, can you play that back?
Yo, that was crazy.
Wait, does he get more?
This is the problem with aim assist. This is the problem right here.
What the f? Dude, that's one of those where, like, your teammates think you got World Star, but there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You're like, our back spawn, bro. I'll just, no, don't worry.
I mean, that's just so unlucky.
Like, you like can't even like calm what just happened to you.
Yeah, it's just, that's super unlucky. I mean,
Right,
shit on bad. But
He 180 no scoped me?
Unlucky shit on.
5-4?
You're just like, what the?
Chad, we got raid search coming up.
You're like, I got one in the back,
down 1-0.
Yo, Damon, I got randomly served an old S&D video from MW3, like the original MW3 2011. And I was actually getting gritty with like shoulder throws and playing for info. But when I watch like modern day COD, I'm like, bro, I wasn't playing like this. I mean, the game's a lot faster, of course, so it's gonna look different. And no bullshit, when I watched my POV in MW3, this S&D match that it was a scrim against FaZe at the time, I was like, oh shit, I think the COD community got me so up in the head. I mean, I think most pro players that I played against probably thought that I was ass. It's kind of like I don't actually think Censor is ass. I think Censor was good in his own right. But like whenever I would play Censor back in the day, I would think, all right, let's fucking go. But I think people thought the same thing about me, actually. They're like, okay, this motherfucker's a free kill on the map. Whatever. But the game now just looks so fucking insane. I'm like, bro, would I be getting slammed or would I be keeping up with the pace? I don't know. Shots fired? No, I don't even mean those as shots. It's just like, you gotta have delusional confidence when you're playing at a professional level in any sport or any game. And yeah, there were certain players on certain teams where I'm like, okay, I'm delusional right now because I'm playing against them. I don't think Censor is a bad player. I think Censor doesn't get enough credit for what he did for his team because he always played for the win and never played for like individual stats, but I promise you those weren't shots. I actually respect the fuck out of Doug.
Stallions red, Stallions black, Telluride Bush Gaming, The Huntsman, Doug Sensor Martin's playing this year again as well. Loads of notable names down there in challenges, former pros, potentially future pros, all that good stuff. But in addition, we may have some other players getting involved, and that involves the following. So we know that for a lot of the former pro players, they will always have a little bit of the bug and the itch to still compete. We know that's the case with Zinni. I also think that's why Zinni is really enjoying this Huntsman project, helping those guys out, is that, you know, he can help coach that team. He can kind of live that competitive drive vicariously through that team to a certain extent, even if he's no longer competing. And for lots of these other guys, obviously Attach retired last year, Havoc's been out of it for a few years now, but he's done phenomenal work in the content game, as we know. And Octane, I don't think has ever really, you know, Octane could have competed longer if he wanted to. Everyone knows that, of course. He didn't need to retire when he did, but he decided that's what he was going to do, and I don't think he has or should have any regrets about that. But look, these guys are still top quality players, world champions in the case of Attach and Octane, and well, if they came to challenges, what would that look like? Well, obviously these guys play the game, they watch a lot of the game, phenomenal players in their day, and frankly still today as well. So I think this is a really exciting prospect. Now, look, are they going to commit for the whole season? Are they going to play a load of LAN events? Very unlikely. I think their plan is just to play this next cup, possibly, and then, because I think for Havoc, until when Ranked comes out, he's going to be playing a fair bit of that, right? But I think to tide them over until then, I believe that this is real. Like, I think they are planning to at least play a cup and play for a little while, just to see. I think it would be fantastic for the scene again, because we see a lot of, you know, former pros. Let's say that Bush Gaming team with TJ, Prolude and those boys, Capsule, Spart. You know, with Sin, that's exactly the team that you would expect to be towards the top of the challenges, right? Like, bunch of players, been in the league before, some of them maybe get back into the league. Also, Doug's team is pretty good. I mean, he's got that team with Johnny on it as well, over at Next Threats, that I think they're playing with at the moment. They're pretty solid. Diamond Con's over there as well. So, yeah, for sure, some talent. Then you've got players like on the Stallions who are showing their potential. They can get into the league in the future, potentially for the first time. But to see all those various rosters, same story with the Huntsman in many respect as well, face up against a team of effectively veterans would be really interesting. So Attach says, team of 3 for Black Ops 7 challenges with Octane and Havoc, looking for one. We are here to win. Let us know. So great tweet. And then Aches in the reply says, I can lock in for 1 cup. Attach is like, well, hang on a second, you know, you can't be serious about this. But he says, at BenJ, update the flank schedule. We got a cup to win. I'm going in. So if they actually pull this off, look, I think Attach, Octane and Havoc are serious. I never really tell with Aches whether he's serious or not. But that would be quite the team, and it would be fascinating to see how they got on. I think challenges this season, so many great storylines down there, as we have discussed. It was always going to be very interesting. Challenges is always pretty interesting at the start of a season because people want to look at, okay, who's looking good, who's not looking so good, who's going to get signed after Major 1 when some of these teams bomb out of the tournament. Of course, last year all the talk was about Huke, right? Because it's like, damn, Huke's in challenges? Are we serious? And then it wasn't long after that, OpTic picked him up, dropped him again, then picked him up again, then he won champs, then he won the World Cup. Now he's looking like the best player in the game, or, you know, not far off anyway. Huke is pretty damn good at this title. That will come as no surprise. So challenge is always interesting at the start of a title, but especially this year, and especially if we can get some veterans down there just to see how they would fare, right? Because, okay, they might not have the grinder mentality that I used to have when they're younger, but they've certainly got the talent still, and they know how to win stuff, right? Certainly that is the case for these gentlemen here. So excited if this goes anywhere. Even Doug says, welcome to the pit, right? Because, yeah, the pit is out of control this season, at least the first couple of months. I think this whole year challenges is going to be very exciting to follow, with all the personalities and the characters getting involved. Not even just the players, right, but the Barstool guys and all of that. Very exciting to see how it plays out. I think especially the first couple of months that will be true, as it usually always is. In addition to this, so Team War says that if you guys are interested, we are happy to fund you guys to the majors. Now, whether they need that or whatever, like, it's obviously a question. I somewhat doubt this will actually happen. As I say, I think it's likely that these guys might play a cup. Whether they're going to want to play a LAN event as a team together, I don't know. But I thought it was cool that Team War put it out there and was like, okay, if you guys are serious, you want to go to Major 1 and compete, then we are happy to help make that happen. And that would be pretty spectacular, I think, as well. There'd be so many eyes on challenges if this was actually the case. So very much into your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Just one final thing to mention, a little Brian stat. 5 players in COD history have won back-to-back lands in their rookie year. Mercules did it in 2013, Crim did it in 2013, Kenny, Simp, and then Mercules. So, usually a pretty big gap between players that do this. Mercules 2025, 6 years after Simp achieved it in 2019. Wonder how long we will have to wait for the next. So very much into your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.